Hey, Mike Raso here, Film Photography Podcast. I have a very special video today. It's shooting with a beater. And you're like,
What? What are you talking about, Mike? What do you mean shooting with a beater?
I mean shooting with a beater. Shooting with a beat-up camera. Shooting with a camera that maybe you thought would belong in the trash. Here's a great example. Here's a very sad-looking Polaroid automatic land camera model number 100. I bought this on eBay.com. When I got this in the mail from the seller, I couldn't believe in what rickety, crappy shape this was in. I kid you not. I mean, it's dirty, it's dusty. There's a gunk on this camera you would not believe. It feels dirty just to hold in my hand. But you would not believe the amazing, dreamy images that this camera produces. And that's because this camera was stored for, who knows, 20, 30 years, 40 years. This camera was stored so poorly that the lens has a coating of gunk and mold on it that won't come off. But what it does is it's an aging process. It naturally produces a dreamy, surreal-looking, soft, beautiful image. And that's why I call this my FPP 100 Dream Cam, DRM Cam. This has been my go-to camera to shoot people because it gives a very natural diffusion. It's gorgeous. And sometimes I pair it up with my original 268 Flash gun. Let's take a look at a few images shot with this Dream Cam. But wait, that's not all. Let's say you have a vintage Kodak 620 Hawkeye Flash camera. Here's a recent purchase. Oh, it's in pretty good shape. Yes, indeed. But look at this guy. Ooh, look at the difference. This guy is all chipped up. The Bakelite's all chipped. It's all grungy and filthy. Ditto. This guy is in good shape. This guy is ready for the trash. But instead of throwing it in the trash, I kind of learned from shooting with the Polaroid that, you know what? It could be that this kind of murky lens on this camera will produce a very dreamlike look in some of my images. Now, I have quite a few of these, and the dreaminess varies on how poorly it was stored. So if you're doing some kind of specialty photography, and do not use Photoshop plugins, and you want the all-natural, right out of the camera film look, I highly recommend trying a camera you would normally think not to shoot with. Let's look at some images shot on the Brownie Hawkeye Flash. That's all I have for today. I just wanted to share with you that, you can't judge a camera by its cover, that these beater cams, as I call them, can actually yield very interesting images. I host the internet radio show, the Film Photography Podcast, twice a month. You can go to filmphotographypodcast.com or go to iTunes to check that out. And if you did not know, the Film Photography Podcast, we now have an online store where we actually sell vintage, tested equipment and brand new film for your vintage cameras. I'm hoping that you'll give us an opportunity to serve you, to send you some film. Until next time, my name is Mike Raso, and happy shooting.